Good evening. Thanks for joining us this Thursday evening on India Business Hour. I'm Shireen Bhan. The headlines we're tracking for you tonight. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen begins a 4-day visit to China, hoping to find common ground and improve the frosty relationship between both nations. This is the second trip by U.S. cabinet official in the last 3 weeks after the Secretary of State Antony Blinken met President Xi Jinping. Instagram's Twitter rival Threads goes live and gains 10 million users in just the first 7 hours. Mark Zuckerberg posts his first tweet in 11 years, taking a jibe at Elon Musk with a popular Spider-Man meme. The Sensex gains over 300 points as bulls move into uncharted waters. The Nifty ends at a record high for the 6th straight session. Except for Eicher Motors, all Nifty stocks have recorded gains in the last 8 sessions. The aviation regulator's audit report on GoFirst is likely in 2 days, says the grounded airline's Resolution Professional. Informs the company law tribunal that creditors have agreed to release 415 crore rupees to restart operations if the DGCA waves the green flag. The Sharad Pawar faction of the NCP holds a national executive meeting in Delhi, expels 12 leaders, including Ajit Pawar, Praful Patel and Sunil Tatkare. The Ajit Pawar faction calls the meeting illegal. Eknath Shinde says the opposition is spreading rumours of unrest among Shiv Sena leaders. The Congress party holds a crucial meeting to ease tensions between Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot and Sachin Pilot ahead of state elections. Top brass meets in Delhi with Pilot in attendance. Gehlot joins remotely via video conferencing. The average global temperature continues to rise for the 3rd day running, making this the hottest week on record. This is yet another grim milestone as events driven by climate change keep the mercury rising. Once valued at over $5 billion, Pharmeasy now seeks fresh funding at a 90% valuation cut after 2 of its acquisitions underperform. While Acnomed's losses widen 10 times in a year, the other acquisition, Thyrocare, has seen a 2/3 fall in valuation in the last 2 years. The global hemp market is set to touch nearly $10 billion this year, and Indian startups are eyeing a piece of the market. Ratan Tata was the first to invest in 2017. Since then, investors have started to make a beeline. A special report coming up. Well, it's been another good day for the bulls. The Nifty ending at record closing highs for the 6th straight trade and breached the 19,500 mark in intraday trade. In fact, the Nifty has gained close to 5% in the last 8 trading sessions alone. Mid-caps outperformed the blue chips, with that index soaring 1%. India's market cap continues to scale new peaks after hitting 302 lakh crores yesterday. Now, all Nifty stocks have ended in the green for the last 8 sessions, but with one exception. Eicher Motors has been on a rough terrain. This after Hero Moto and Bajaj Auto expanded their footprint in the premium bike segment. The Eicher stock lost close to 3% in trade today. It has lost a market cap of over 11,200 crore rupees over the last 3 trading sessions. In fact, brokerages have downgraded the stock. UBS and Kotak Equities have lowered their target price to 3,500 and 2,700 rupees respectively. Jewellery retail player Senco Gold's 400 crore rupee IPO got subscribed by more than 68 times as of 4 p.m. The highest demand coming in from qualified institutional buyers who've placed bids 163 times of the share on offer. Meanwhile, the retail book was subscribed 14.5 times. But the big story this evening, U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen has arrived in Beijing today for a 4-day visit. Now, Yellen's visit is aimed at securing common ground and improving the relationship between U.S. and China, which has been fraught. This visit comes just 2 weeks after U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken met China President Xi Jinping. A bevy of U.S. corporate leaders, including Tim Cook, Elon Musk, Jamie Dimon and others, have also visited China earlier this year. Yunus Yoon is here with more on Yellen's visit. Yunus Yoon, many thanks for joining us. That's the latest there coming in from China. But here's the big story that has the tech world all shook up and could potentially change the social media landscape. Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg has unveiled Threads. Now, it's a platform built by Instagram where users can share videos, images and links along with text. Users who have an account on Instagram can directly log on to the app. Now, experts are dubbing this new app as a rival to Elon Musk-owned Twitter. Sarah McLaughlin of NBC News has more on the social space clash between Musk.
Be a knockout.
Well, a knockout is not certain yet, but Mark Zuckerberg's Threads has definitely drawn first blood. Within just 7 hours, Threads has hit a 10 million sign-up. And while the judges are still tallying the scores after round one, Shilpa Ranipeta breaks down what this new app is all about. Shilpa, does Threads have enough punch to push Twitter into a corner?
Well, like one early user and influencer said, Threads is a mashup of Instagram, Facebook and Twitter. And the fact that it has allowed Instagram users to port their entire profiles and followers onto the platform has helped most Thread users get off to a flying start. And this has also given Threads a bit of a head start because most logins are currently coming from Instagram, and that's a ready cache of 2 billion plus users. As features go, the interface, the look and feel is a lot like Twitter. Now, the app allows posts with a character count of about 500 along with pictures, links and 5-minute videos. Twitter, on the other hand, has a character limit of 280 for unverified users but unlimited for verified users. There are a few features that are quite similar to both Twitter and to Instagram. For instance, you can control your mentions, you can unfollow people that you've lost interest in, had a fight with or followed by mistake, restrict users, restrict access to your content and also report wrongdoing or misbehavior. Some of the big differences, unlike Twitter, Threads does not have a web app yet, nor does it have direct messaging feature yet. Also, there is no way yet to discover trends like you do on Twitter using hashtags. Also, you cannot save a draft of a thread and then come back to it later. However, there are no restrictions on the number of posts one can view or publish like those imposed by Twitter. For users, especially those who are obsessed with that little blue tick, Threads has an edge. Because while Twitter offers only paid verification, especially for new users, you automatically get a verified account on Threads if you already have a verified account on Instagram. The question, of course, is whether Threads will make Twitter unravel. And here's a big hurdle to that: the user demographic. Twitter has become a key source for news for users, while Instagram is more of a photo and reel sharing platform with a much younger demographic. So it's still unclear if these people will continue on Threads if Threads positions itself as a pure replacement for Twitter. For now, it's quite clear that Threads has given Twitter a bloody nose. 10 million users in 7 hours is a lot quicker than the 2 years it took Twitter to hit 1 million or ChatGPT, the 5 days that it took that app to hit 1 million. Now, whether a body blow will follow, we'll know that only when the next bell goes.
Yes, we certainly will. But, they have access to the Instagram universe, and it's a large universe, Shilpa. So being able to break those records in terms of getting sign-ups in just a few hours, that's par for course for Instagram, given just the sheer size of its constituency. But shares of Hindustan Zinc surging after the company announced that it will consider an interim dividend for FY24 during a meeting on the 8th of July. The record date for eligibility of interim dividend will be the 15th of July. Shares of Marico slipping in trade after the company's volumes grew in low single digits on a yearly basis in the June quarter. Its rural demand was also lower than anticipated. However, the company does expect a visible pickup in the coming quarter. Meanwhile, in their first quarter business update, Godrej Consumer indicates that sales growth will be in double digits on a consolidated basis. Speaking to CNBC-TV18, the CFO Sameer Shah said gross margins may expand 8 to 10% on a year-on-year basis. Private sector lender DCB Bank rallying in trade after the Reserve Bank allowed Tata Asset Management to raise its stake in the bank. The AMC can take its holding in the bank to 7.5%. The central bank has also advised DCB to ensure that it does not exceed the 7.5% paid-up capital mark at any time. Further, the approval will remain valid for a period of a year from the date of the RBI's letter. Now, the aviation regulator's audit report on GoFirst is likely in the next 2 days, says the grounded airline's resolution professional. The National Company Law Tribunal was hearing the matter today. The resolution professional also informed the tribunal that creditors have agreed to release 415 crore rupees to restart operations if the DGCA waves the green flag. Ashmit joins us now with the details. Ashmit, any closer to a restart for GoFirst?
Well, today was the first hearing before the NCLT where the newly appointed IRP gave a status update on the GoFirst insolvency. And speaking of the status update, there are 4 key takeaways. Number one, the IRP confirmed that an application had been submitted before the DGCA for resumption of operations. And to that end, the IRP revealed that the DGCA constituted a select committee, a special committee of experts, which has reviewed and inspected the various aircraft at various airports and is likely to submit its report in 2 days' time. What's interesting is that the RP said so in as many words that the RP is hopeful that the DGCA nod will come with that report in 2 days' time. That's the first key takeaway. The second key takeaway is, and this is speaking of resumption of operations, there have been conversations ongoing between the airline, the RP, as well as the COC, and to that end, the COC has agreed to release an amount of 415 crore rupees to finance GoFirst's resumption of operations drive. So that's something to bear in mind. The number 3 takeaway here is the RP clarified that as far as the arbitration proceedings are concerned, a fresh order has been secured, a fresh favourable order has been secured from the arbitral tribunal, whereby a direction has been issued to Pratt & Whitney to issue 5 additional engines to the airline. The execution, of course, there's a big question mark there, the enforcement of that arbitration award. And finally, the 4th key takeaway is the RP seems to have taken objection to yesterday's Delhi High Court order, which allowed lessors access to the planes for inspection and for maintenance, hinting that the RP is likely to issue a challenge. So 4 key takeaways. All eyes, however, will be on the DGCA report in 2 days' time and whether or not the DGCA agrees to allow for resumption of operations.
Yes, we will have to wait to see what the DGCA says and if GoFirst can restart operations. Ashwit, many thanks for joining us. Retail vehicle sales witnessed a 10% growth year-on-year in the month of June, with all segments recording positive performances. According to the Federation of Auto Dealers Association, the passenger vehicle, 3-wheeler and tractor segment recorded the highest ever June sales. Commercial vehicle sales in June surpassed pre-COVID levels for the first time. However, 2-wheeler sales were still below the pre-COVID levels. The political spectacle in Maharashtra has intensified. The Sharad Pawar faction, a national executive meeting was held in Delhi today. 12 leaders, including Ajit Pawar, Praful Patel and Sunil Tatkare, have been expelled from the party. The Ajit Pawar faction had already put out a statement calling the meeting illegal, hitting out at his nephew for suggesting that he should retire from politics. Sharad Pawar said that whether he's 82 or 92, he is still the effective head. Deputy Chief Minister Ajit Pawar has claimed that the NCP party name and symbol lies with his faction this days after the party split. Meanwhile, Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde has insisted that all is well within the Shiv Sena. He dismissed reports of unrest among Shiv Sena leaders as rumours started by the opposition.
राज्य में डबल इंजन की सरकार जो हम कहते, अजीत दादा के भी वही विचार है, तो इसीलिए वो साथ में आए और आगे तो और काम होगा, मजबूती से काम होगा। और इसमें ये तो सब रूमर है, ये अफवाह है। ये इस्तीफा देना, क्या प्रतिक्रिया थी आपके मन में, क्या लगा आपको? अरे कितने हद तक जाना, मैं तो कहूंगा कि उनकी जो पार्टी की हालत है वो हालत को देखना चाहिए उन्होंने।
मुझे एक बात सच्ची है कि राष्ट्रवादी कांग्रेस पार्टी का मैं प्रेसिडेंट हूँ। दूसरा किसी ने अपने नाम पर स्टेटमेंट दे दिया, कुछ बात कही, तो बात कह सकते हैं, इसमें कोई इम्पोर्टेंस नहीं, कोई सच्चाई नहीं है। So doesn't arise to something. Now I work more effectively, whether 82 or 92.
Well, from the battle in Maharashtra to the battle for Rajasthan, the Congress held a 4-hour-long meeting to take stock of the Rajasthan unit's preparedness for the state elections later this year. The meeting was led by Party President Mallikarjun Kharge, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi. MLA Sachin Pilot was also present in Delhi for the meeting. Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot attended virtually. Pilot said the Congress is confident about retaining power in the state.
व्यापक और महत्वपूर्ण चर्चा हुई। सभी मुद्दों पर हम लोगों ने डिस्कशन किया, बड़े खुले दिमाग से किया और मुझे बताते हुए खुशी है कि सभी लोगों ने ये कॉन्फिडेंस व्यक्त किया है कि हम अगले कुछ महीनों में मेहनत कर अपनी सरकार को रिपीट कर सकते हैं। और हमें लगता है कि राजस्थान के अंदर जो मुद्दे हैं उन पर हमारी सरकार ने भी काम किया है।
Well, that's Sachin Pilot on the upcoming Rajasthan elections. We will head into a short break, but coming up next, the global hemp market set to touch nearly $10 billion this year. Indian startups are eyeing a piece of that pie. That and more when we return. The Finance Ministry believes its management of the macroeconomy has been, and I quote, stellar, while also adding that external headwinds could challenge India's FY24 growth prospects. The Finance Ministry released the annual economic review for the month of May. It highlighted that India needs to continue to take measures to facilitate FDI inflows. The ministry also highlighted a rebound in private capex via proxy indicators. And staying with the ministry, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman held a meeting with the heads of public sector banks today. She urged the bank chiefs to increase credit to rural areas and the agriculture sector. The Finance Ministry also said that net NPAs across PSU banks have dropped to a record low. Sapna joins us now with more. Sapna, take us through the key takeaways of that meeting.
Absolutely. If you look at the gross and the net NPA figures of particular banks, March 2023, under 5% as far as gross NPAs are concerned, and between 1.25 to 1.25% as far as net NPAs are concerned. If I'm not wrong, the net NPA number that the PSBs have clocked, I think it's an all-time low. That's one. Obviously, this is also fallout of the over 1 lakh crore worth of net profits that they have done in FY23. But the question also remains, what are they going to do in the current year? In the meanwhile, the Finance Minister's advisory to the banks is very clear. First, picking off straight from the NPA angle, rather the fact that the NPAs have fallen to an all-time low. Here, the FM has cautioned banks again, and in good spirit, that kindly maintain proper reporting of NPAs, kindly conduct regular internal reviews, and make sure that the reporting is accurate. This is basically an advisory to sound them out that, things have been, good things have been achieved after a very long time, and that momentum should not be lost. Second, also in terms of the basic schemes that are being run, like PM Swarnidhi, and also the fact that, credit offtake under the priority sector lending, especially the subcategories under the PSL norms, that needs to be stepped up. And last but not the least, also in terms of the regional rural banks, the Finance Minister herself will be undertaking a review in the current month and the next month, and she'll be also touring the country to make sure that this agenda goes forward. In the meanwhile, bankers have been already sensitized that the sponsor banks or RRBs should, undertake technological upgradations of RRBs, and that's how it's going to pan out. But of course, I think the big takeaway here would be the fact that the bank performance has been good, healthy, and the net NPAs probably are at an all-time low.
All right, Sapna, appreciate you joining us. Now, negotiations between India and the EU on a potential free trade agreement continue. The carbon tariff imposed by the EU is one of the key sticky points. Abhimanyu joins us now with the details. Abhimanyu, how much progress has been made?
Government sources have indicated that India-EU FTA negotiations are on track and both the sides are trying to resolve all persisting issues. The government is trying to engage on several dimensions while noting that carbon tariffs do raise costs and impinge on free trade. The government is looking to have accredited experts in India to assess carbon content and is undertaking stakeholder consultation on volumes of trade. With EU's carbon tariffs slated to kick in from 2026, industry associations are making individual efforts to comply while the government is focusing on the aspect of sustainability. While government sources indicated high ambitions over the potential FTA on the European side due to high volumes of trade with India, increased mobility for students and professionals independent of migration is also a part of the dialogue on services. The government is looking to have greater facilitation and visas by the European Union for Indian students and professionals.
Abhimanyu, many thanks. Once valued at over $5 billion, unicorn Pharmeasy has had a rough run. And in its latest round of fundraising, it may have to accept money at valuations that are 85 to 90% off its peak. Ekta Batra was here to explain what's led to such a sharp fall in valuations in just the last 2 years. Ekta.
Thanks for that. Well, one of the biggest problems the industry watchers say is that Pharmeasy expanded too fast too soon. The valuations of the company rose rapidly, aided by the COVID-19 froth around healthcare companies. It entered into the unicorn club with a $1.5 billion valuation in April 2021, and in just a matter of few months went to around $5.6 billion in terms of valuation. The company at the same time, in 2021, went on a rapid expansion spree to position itself as a broader online healthcare firm, say industry watchers. The company shelled out around close to 6,000 crores on 3 acquisitions. From Indian online healthcare platform MedLife to Bangalore-based supply chain firm AcnaMed and its biggest bet, Thyrocare, the listed diagnostic chain, which Pharmeasy bought for over 4,500 crores. The company took on debt to fund a lot of the expansion, pledging 100% of its stake in Thyrocare to fund the $600 million buyout. As of September 2021, the debt stood close to around 2,500 crores. The company planned a $1 billion IPO to pay it off, but was eventually shelved. It eventually took a $285 million loan from Goldman Sachs to pay off their earlier debt, but breached the loan covenant. The acquisition, it seems, didn't pay off as anticipated. AcnaMed's loss has widened over 10 times in 1 year. Thyrocare's valuations have plummeted 60% from the time Pharmeasy bought it, with 100% of the promoters' shares pledged since September 2021. The diagnostic business has also been impacted by factors such as COVID-19 gains petering off, competition in the space, quality perception issues and transition issues, and fundamentals such as margins worsening to as low as 18% from a peak of around 50%. Now, on the other hand, the online pharmacy space has been weighed down by fierce competition and regulatory uncertainty. Additionally, industry watchers say platform service companies have had difficulty scaling up post-COVID-19 as consumer behavior hasn't been as sticky as anticipated. The fresh round of funding is expected to be used to clear up the current loans with the company, which logged its first EBITDA profit of around 14 crores in April, will aim to improve financials. Lastly, another trigger to watch for will be the journey of Thyrocare and whether a stake sale will be contemplated.
Ekta, many thanks for joining us. The global hemp market is set to touch nearly $10 billion this year, and Indian startups are eyeing a piece of the market. Ratan Tata was the first to invest in 2017. Since then, investors have started to make a beeline. Here's an excerpt from our special show, Mad About Markets, where Mangala Malu and Ritu Singh look deeper into the hemp opportunity.
When we talk about the hemp industry, it's attracted some really big names and exciting startups as well in this space. And the biggest of them all was Ratan Tata and ex-Google Rajan Anandan in 2017 invested in Bohiko. That was one big deal that brought attention to the hemp industry as a whole. It showed their belief in its potential as well. Following soon was Hindustan Media Ventures, which invested in Hemp Horizons in 2020 itself. And very recently, Zerodha founder Nitin Kamath tweeted his conviction to allocate some capital to hemp-focused startups. And speaking about startups, we have a bunch of them in India. Hemp & Co, there's Hempstrawl, there's Green Jams, Hemp Street, Satliva, Hemp Republic, and so many more driving innovations in this space itself. And by 2027, it is projected that there could be around 500 companies working in industries related to hemp in India itself. So that's the big opportunity we're talking about, Ritu.
And let's take it to where, they're really selling this e-commerce, right? We often talk about that here as well. The e-commerce opportunity for hemp products, that is booming, especially in the last couple of years. So, It's Hemp, an online marketplace that has emerged as one of the key players and offers more than 2,000 products from licensed cannabis manufactured in Uttarakhand, from hemp-based food products to cosmetics, textiles, you have pet care, you have construction materials. I mean, you name it. You wouldn't have imagined that these kind of products can be made. And they are available at a click of a button, catering to the growing demands of conscious consumers.
Well, that is the hemp opportunity and the investors and startups looking at cashing in. With that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of India Business Hour. Thanks very much for watching. Do stay tuned. The news continues here on CNBC-TV18.